if you're wanting to start something, ask a friend to join you.
You don't need to be a pro to start something. You just need the courage to start, the discipline to keep going, and the belief that you're capable of a lot more than you think.
Look at those bike photos I'm leant over. You can see my belly rolls, but they're part of me and they got me to that Ironman World finish line.
Welcome to 40G. Lydia Frazer, welcome to the 40G podcast.
Oh my God, Kylie Lynch, thank you so much for having me.
So this is the podcast that finally made it out of the group chat.
Finally.
We've been talking about this for years, haven't we?
This is our dream come true. If little 19 and 18-year-old Kylie and Lydia could see us now, wow.
We'd be absolutely proud. Well, after months of begging, I thought I would let you into the hot seat on 40G, and it only took you doing hardest event on the planet to get here. So you really do deserve this.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
But in all seriousness, I have been privileged to be in the front seat of watching you train and prepare for the most incredible event, and I have been in awe of how you've handled it, both in regards to training, but also how you've overcome hurdles and obstacles and remained disciplined all throughout your training. So I'd love to share some of those lessons with our audience today.
Oh, thank you. And I think also you've helped me get to that start line as well. I think it takes a community to get there, and you've seen some lows, you've seen some highs, but couldn't have done it without you as well.
No, we're very, very proud of you. Let's go right back. I want to know more about Lydia Frazer.
And what Monday? I was born at 10:30
Not quite
PM.
that far back.
Okay.
But let's go back to childhood. Not childhood traumas. We won't go that far back. But what did sport mean for you growing up, and what sort of a role did that play in your childhood?
I loved sport growing up. I think I can remember being like a 6-year-old and I was desperate to play netball. And I remember mum saying, no, you have to be 7 to play. And I was just like, oh my gosh, when can I get that court? So I loved playing netball growing up, team sport. I swam growing up in a coastal community. Swimming was a really big part of my life. And then as I transitioned to a teenager, I swam competitively from I was about 11 till 16. Doing up to 8 sessions a week, depending on the week. And that was definitely part of my identity and definitely something that I still who I am. But then getting to high school, if there was a team sport, I put my hand up and I did it. I was like, cross country, I'll go. Hockey, need a goalkeeper, I'll go.
You betcha.
I wasn't particularly good at everything, but I just loved it. I loved being part of a team. I loved having a go. And being part of that community as well, I think, funny looking back now, that's what I definitely is one of the reasons why I love sport and kind of found those communities as well.
And by the sounds of it, if you were such a good swimmer from a young age, endurance has already been part of your life. So how did it find sort of refinding that love for endurance?
Yeah, it's funny. I think I wasn't the best swimmer growing up. I was consistent, definitely. Really interesting. I think really bit of a backstory, but I developed quite early. I got my period when I was 11. So I was quite good at 11 because just physically I was bigger than the other girls, stronger than the girls from where I was, right? But then I plateaued for a long time and probably didn't have a lot of success in the pool. And I remember my coach kept on saying to me, you about 16, 17, you'll get it, you'll pick it up again. And I stopped swimming at the end of 16 just because I'd had enough. And you're becoming a teenager and life kind of thing. But I look back at that and kind of go, oh, I wish I'd given it, just waited that bit of patience and had it. So yeah, look, I wasn't the best swimmer, but I was consistent definitely. And I love that environment. Again, it's funny now looking back at life, you can see I really thrived in that environment of being busy, being consistent with training. So yeah, after that, I was always still active, still played team sports, touch footy, or netball was still really consistent in life. Played a lot of water polo then competitively as well, because you're a swimmer, you know, they chuck you in the pool, like, oh, you can swim and you're competitive too, so you get, and I did love that. And then probably, kind of down the line, it was in my 20s, it was COVID, living in Sydney. I was looking to make friends, joined a local surf club, which was one of the best things I could have done, found an awesome group of people. And then, stumbled into triathlon.
Just casually?
Just casually.
And you did, one sprint and then went straight to a half Ironman?
Yeah.
As you do.
Natural
progression.
No, it was COVID it was lockdown. I was very fortunate living in Sydney and had an amazing group of girls around me. And there was 2 of us, we were both hadn't done a triathlon before, and we said, you know what, let's sign up into a triathlon. That'll be like our goal. It was like November, a sprint distance triathlon. And always in the back of my head, I thought, I reckon I could do a triathlon. Like, I'm a good swimmer. Like, I'm pretty fit. Like, give it a go. And we trained for that, which was great, amazing. Got to the finish line. But I think halfway through when I was training, would have just bought my first bike off Facebook Marketplace and paid $200 for it. Old metal thing. Great. Did the job. Trusty steed. I had two very close friends who we were at coffee one morning and they said, hey, we're going to do the full Ironman in Port Macquarie in May next year. And I turned around and said, you guys are crazy, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be there to support you, be there with bells on. Like I was already thinking in my head, how big a sign can I make? What am I going to do? That way. And they sat back and they looked at each other and they said, do you know what the best way to support is? And me being eager, being like, what? Said, you could do the half. And I was like, no way. No. Absolutely not. It's crazy. No, couldn't think about it. And then I probably left coffee, meaning like I'm 20% in. And then I think 2 days later I'd signed up for a half Ironman.
Yeah. I remember that call because you called me and you were like, Kylie, here's a wild idea. How about we do a half Ironman? I said, here's an even wilder idea. Absolutely not.
So I was like, why not? I was like, I thought about it and I was like, you know what? It sounds crazy, but we can train for it. This was September, I think. It's not till May. And they'd kind of talk to me, look, we slowly build up to it and you'll get there. And I was like, all right, great. We're going to tick this thing off. It's going to be an incredible achievement. Think about the beers afterwards. It's going to be a great time.
All for beers. And it's funny like what you say there, and it keeps coming back to this. COVID was a very tricky time, but it forced people to yearn for community. And that's where you found your sense of community again. And that's why a lot of young girls do drop out of sport because they're lacking that community. Other girls are dropping out. So it just speaks to the absolute power that if you've got other friends and other females doing it, you're more likely to do it.
Oh, 100%. I look back on that time and was just so lucky of the community of females that I was surrounded with. And still now, they're still my wonderful friends and wider community there as well. Competitive, but in the best way possible.
Yeah.
Like it was competitive that we're like, oh, we're going out for an ocean swim. Do you want to come? And it's like, oh, I'm a lot slower than you. That's okay. Join in. We'll wait for you. Like it was always being like, come, let's do it. Let's be part of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how fast you are, how slow you are. We'll regroup. We'll be together. And just even that's when I learned to cycle with those girls as well. Just such patience and just wanting to have more friends doing it and being inclusive and just so beautiful. Just lovely.
Yeah. And I remember because I was doing my first sprint when you were doing your half Ironman. And I was like, you can
do a half. Come on.
And at the time I was like, absolutely not. But it was so fun, wasn't it? Because I had my bunch of friends in Canberra who were really encouraging me to do it. We're going for one of my friends' birthdays and you were doing it. And then we met up in Wollongong to do like training camps.
Oh my God,
and I remember you did your first 40K bike ride and 50K, I was like, 50K, sorry, cutting you short. And I just thought, wow, 50K, that is phenomenal. And now you do that, as warm up. Do you think about how far you've come since then?
Yeah, I really do. So even I was thinking about my first 70.3, that first race day in Port Macquarie, and I can remember being about 60 Ks on the bike and thinking to myself, oh my God, I've just done 60 Ks of a half Ironman, or plus 62 with the swim basically. And just that feeling of pride of myself was one of the best feelings ever. Like, I've done this. Like, I'm smashing my goals. Like, this is incredible. And I remember there was this woman passing me on the bike and we were kind of tag teaming each other all the time. And we were having this conversation being like, oh, you've got me next time. Like, hey, how you going? And it was just one of those moments you'd like, this is awesome. This is what life is all about. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
Then I got to the run and it really hurt. It really sucked.
Yeah, change of attitude.
Change of attitude. But getting that finish line, I can still remember. And I can remember the photo that I've got of me crossing that finish line and the smile on my face. I think it says it all. I was so proud of myself in that moment.
And then I remember at Port Macquarie, I was with your mum and dad, and the first thing you said when you came up to us is, I'm never doing that again. That absolutely sucked. And I looked at your mum and I was like, I bet you she's going to do a full one. And she's like, no. And I was like, yep, I can see it.
You know me.
You loved it.
You knew me better than I knew myself at that stage.
But that was my first Ironman that I'd been to, and I was absolutely blown away with the atmosphere. Everyone is so supportive and so encouraging. And the best thing was you saw people all ages, all body shapes competing with the biggest smile on their face. And it makes you realize, it's not just physical, it's mental, but what we can achieve as a human if we put our mind to it.
Oh, being on an Ironman finish line is a really, really special place. So I work for Ironman, but one of my favorite parts of my job is being at the finish line, seeing those final finishes come across. I'm getting emotional thinking about it, but I cry every time, and seeing the look on those people's faces that they've done it is incredible. Seeing their family supporting them, being around them. It's just, if you ever want inspiration, even we've got a finish line camera that's live, tune into it. It's incredible. It's a very motivating and beautiful place to be. Very privileged to be able to see those moments as well.
Yeah, it just makes you realise what we're all capable if we just start.
100%. And a lot of these women that cross the finish line, that's what they just say, I just started. I've just started, and every day is a new day. And sometimes with an Ironman, yes, it's a massive goal, but it's breaking that down into small little pieces, and you kind of get halfway through or 75% through, you're like, wow, look back at where you've come from. And it's really... It's a beautiful journey.
All about the journey. Well, speaking of the journey, so in endurance sports, if I get quite philosophical here, it's almost a bit of a mirror to life, right? There's something about the monotony of showing up day in, day out when things get tough, the 5 a.m. wake-up calls, the flat tires in the middle of the rain, all these things that we don't see, but you do. So along this journey to Kona, what were some of the greatest lessons you've learned and the greatest challenges that you've had to overcome along the way?
I think looking back, so when I did my first, so from that first 70.3, I've talked about in that amazing community of girls. And from that really good tri club as well, like local community, and then went on to do another 70.3 after Macquarie at Sunshine Coast, and then actually qualified for the 70.3 World Championships in Finland. And then again, was in a really supportive environment. And then also with that same group built up to my first full Ironman together. And then I've moved to Melbourne, and then so training for my second Ironman New Zealand, where I qualified for Kona. I was with a training group, but then when I qualified for Kona and doing this training, I swapped coaches, so I was by myself. So really, really different environment, and it kind of definitely taught me of what the brain can do. Like I was by myself for probably 85% of my training sessions, but I wasn't by myself, if that makes sense. I always had someone, whether it was you at home being like, how's your session? Like that's still for me part of that community, part of that connection. Or you'd be at the pool and you talk to someone. I think also retraining your brain that I could have been like, I'm totally alone in this, but I absolutely wasn't. There was still always people around supporting me. Even if be like, a friend being like, I'll join you for a coffee at the end. That's still being part of it, or asking people to be part of my journey and being proactive with that as well. People want to support you. I think especially endurance sport, it's by ourselves, it's individual, it's absolutely not. People want to support you, they want to be part of your journey, and let them be part of it. It's made it so much better and so much enjoyable as well.
Well, it is. It's incredible knowing someone doing it. And it's very inspirational too, you know. I normally wouldn't tell you this, but you know, I obviously, you know, had to get up and go training, do my own rehab and stuff, but knowing that you're doing it and you're out on a bike for 6 hours on a Saturday and then coming back for a run, it makes me think that, you know what, my gym session actually isn't that hard.
Are you kidding? I'd be like, it's 5:30, I've got to go to bed. Kylie's already at the gym. I've got to get up and get this run session in. So it's funny.
But it does just make it a lot better when you've got someone else who you can even just vent to and just be like, look, I've got a really tough day today. And you say, yeah. And then you hear again what you've been doing. You're like, perspective is great, isn't it? It's not that good. And I think that's the thing. People do want to support you because they think it's absolutely amazing. And, you know, you actually inspire them to do the same. So community is such a big part of all of this.
And it's really interesting. There's a study that's been done, and I can't remember the exact numbers, but women generally need connection more to sign up for events, sporting teams, etc., compared to males. And we've found that if a woman knows someone or will actually go to a finish line and see it, they are more likely to sign up themselves, which is really, really powerful, right? So kind of what I was saying before, if you're wanting to start something, ask a friend to join you. Like the worst they're going to say is no, or maybe it's like, I'm going to go for a run, join me for that coffee afterwards. And maybe it's that conversation. If you're talking about their run, you don't know what that could actually inspire.
Yeah.
And I think that's the power of social media at the moment as well. It kind of gets a bad name, but love seeing people sharing their journeys. It's really, really inspiring. And yes, you kind of sometimes yourself like, who wants to hear about my 12K run with my intervals and stuff like that? Maybe it inspires one person. Be exactly. Like, if she's out there doing it, maybe why can't I? So yeah, keep sharing as well. Keep sharing and keep bringing people into the journey. It's so powerful.
And I feel as though that's something you have done really well for your Kona journey. You've posted a lot more on social media, and I know we spoke at length that I think you should create a TikTok or something because you are a little bit funny. I'll give you that on a good day.
Oh my God, thank you. That's very kind of you.
I know. But you are just so relatable. You're an everyday person. You have a good sense of humor. You don't sugarcoat things. And I think everyone wants to see that. I feel like we're almost fatigued with seeing influencers because it's just not attainable or relatable. So we want to see everyday people out there posting their stories. It makes you feel like you too could achieve that because you have had the same opportunities that they've had. You would have maybe the same resources that they've had, generally speaking. So again, if I see you instead of someone who's a professional triathlete, I would say, if Lydia can do it, maybe I can too.
100%. I think I got over that quite quickly as well, being that, no one wants to hear about my story. And it's like, you know what? Who cares?
And as you say, it takes one person. So speaking of being quite open and vulnerable and sharing your story, you released a inspirational blog a couple of weeks ago telling us about the ins and outs of your Kona story and your Kona journey. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, link in bio in my Instagram. Go have a read of it.
I'll pop that in the show notes.
Yeah, thank you so much. But no, look, I went to go write an Instagram post about my race. Got my race photos, wanted to share it. It took a while for me to actually digest my race. It was huge, right? It's Ironman World Championship. It's not a small thing. And I started writing, and I got to, all of a sudden I was at 1,000 words, and I was like, do you know what? Actually, this is really cathartic, and I'm really enjoying just reflecting on my day. So I kept writing, and at that stage I was like, maybe this is just for me to reflect on, which is, I think, a really healthy way to process what has been a really massive journey as well. I look back, yes, it was 6 months of training, but probably this started way back when. And I really enjoyed the process. As I said, it's really cathartic, just going through the day, thinking about it, reflecting on it. And then I finished it, and it was 3,700 words. And I was like, oh, geez, that's
a school essay.
It is a school essay. I'd have to cut that back. And I kind of sat on it for a while, and I was like, do I post this? Do I not? Like, do people want to read that? And I started by saying, this isn't a record-breaking day. Like, I didn't break records. I wasn't an Australian champion in my age, wasn't world champion. I'd pretty middle of the pack kind of day. But I thought, do you know what? That was my day. I'm going to put it out there. If you want to read it, great. If not, who cares? And a few people have read it, and it's been really nice. The feedback I've gotten has been really encouraging as well. I had a hard day. A couple of things didn't go right for me, but I think I was really proud of the resilience I showed, and my mindset of being able to switch it and being like, okay, maybe it's not my day, but we'll ride to the next aid station, and then we'll go from there. To setting, again, small little goals throughout the day to kind of change it. I think reading back on it though, and that feeling, I can remember coming that final 2Ks of getting off the highway. So if you don't know Kona, it's really hot. The main thing, the course is on the highway, and it's really hot, it's barren, it's boring and that's what kind of makes it hard as well. And I finally got off the highway, and that feeling of relief and being like, oh my God, I've done this. Again, it took me back to Port Macquarie, and that feeling that I had in that first 60 Ks, that bike, being like, I've done this. And it was really special. So yeah, to kind of write about that, to share it. And again, if that inspires one person to maybe over the summer down here in Melbourne, we've got the 2xU series, start a try. Who knows? That's all it takes.
That's right. So now that you've finished Kona, which is the pinnacle of endurance sports, there's the HBO documentary called The Weight of Gold, where Michael Phelps and other Olympians talk about the come down post-Olympics and how they've put their whole life work towards that one race. And it's the paradox of achievement, right? Like, you've put all this work in and then it's suddenly finished. And there's a lot of cases where Olympians and other elite athletes, they become quite depressed after the race because they had tied their whole identity to that race. And now they're going to think, how could I ever live up to that again? Or how can I ever achieve something of that gravitas? Have you felt that since Kona? It's
a really interesting question. So Ironman blues is really common that we have in Ironman, because as you've said, you've dedicated for weeks, months, years to get to this moment, right? And you build up, and you've been thinking about this finish line for so long. Like for me, I had a printout of the finish line from Kona for a couple of years ago, and I had it next to my bed, and that was when the alarm would go at 5 o'clock in the morning, you'd roll over and I'd see that finish line and be like, that's what I'm training for. Like, this is kind of been, that finish line has been that goal in your eyes for so long. And then you had my 11-hour, 20-minute day, or however long it was, and you get to that finish line and you're there for 5 seconds, and then guess what? They whisk you away. It's over. Like, it's like that. It's very quick. But I've done a few Ironmans before, and I'm aware of that, and being proactive of knowing that there's going to be a come down afterwards, we had a little holiday afterwards of a week of just being really quiet. Just one of my friends who also did the race, very privileged to share the race course with two of my good friends, but it was kind of nice just being us together. We kind of cocooned ourselves in that post-race, being able to talk about it, because other people obviously, like, you want to know about how's your race and kind of thing, but you kind of don't want to say I'd be privileged, but you don't understand what I've been through. I just didn't like it. But it's kind of nice to be with each other and just kind of like really debrief it together. We've learned it, we've been together, and you kind of talk that supportive. And then coming home, it's actually been really nice to be just reflecting on the journey. So yeah, writing that blog was really, really helpful. Mentally, just to check in with myself. How am I going? How did I feel about it? Really debrief with myself. I've got an amazing coach and we had a really good debrief post-race as well. And kind of always question is, right, after you do something big, what's next? But kind of reveling in there is nothing next and enjoying that. I know for some people that can be like, oh, there's this big hole in my life. But actually looking at it, I've got so many other opportunities. Like what else could I do now? Like different things. For example, I'm playing pickleball now on a Tuesday afternoon because I couldn't do that before, and I'm meeting new people through that. Or just like, different things, or reveling that I can sleep in. This is great. And I know this isn't going to fill the hole forever, but just enjoying that piece. I think, just saying, flipping it and being like, what's the different opportunity that's there now? I've also kept busy. Work's really busy at the moment, which is really, really nice as well to kind of keep my mind going, keep ticking over. And I knew that would be the case, which was kind of almost set that up for myself that we were going to be busy coming home as well.
Do you feel now that you've finished the toughest race in the world that you really could achieve anything? You put your mind to?
I thought that before I did this. Like, it doesn't, I think you talk about identity being related to, I've never, and maybe because I've come into triathlon later in my life, my late 20s, but I've never, my identity in Ironman or triathlon aren't tied. I'm Lydia and I do triathlon. That's part of me. I'm Lydia and I love going for beers with my mates. I'm Lydia and I love, I don't know what else. I love going to the beach, swimming. Like, it's part of me. It's not my whole identity. It's just part of me. And I think knowing that as well has been really helpful as well.
And that's something I think you've managed very well. And all my friends who have met you would always say, wow, is she an Ironman? Because you are just so casual. You're not your typical type A obsessive, Ironman athlete. You'll still go to social events. You still do training. You manage to fit it all in. It's
life though, right? It's keeping a healthy balance in what you want in your life. If I wanted to be all encompassing on it, great. If that's what you want to do, awesome. I still want to talk to other people that don't do Ironman. Look, I live, breathe and eat Ironman sometimes, but it's nice to have perspective of everything in the world. And look, it's a fantastic community, but it is not everything. And I think that's also part of it, that I didn't probably have the A race that I wanted to in Kona. Not saying I'm still incredibly proud of myself and what I achieved, but also I set myself up to be okay with that as well, that this isn't the pinnacle, this isn't everything. And almost having not the best race, guess what? It's made me hungry. I want to go back. Not tomorrow, not next year. Give me some more time.
But, about a month off.
But yeah.
Yeah. One thing that you said in your blog too is that you originally went and saw your best mate Sally race, which was a few years before, and you said that it planted the seed. Now, there's a lot of women who you meet as part of work and also doing Ironman who just say, I couldn't do that. There's no way. Tell us a little bit about how you think women, and especially this has got to do with the low participation rates for females in Ironman, but do you think that women self-limit themselves more than men?
Oh my gosh, yes, and it really frustrates me. And I have to remember that they're not as confident as me. I'm blessed. I'm very confident myself. I've got trust in my ability. I'm resilient, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I went to Kona in 2023 to support my best mate, Sal. Incredible experience to be there to supporting her. It was kind of a question like, absolutely, if you want me to support you, let's go. And we went over there. I remember being on the highway as the bikes came through, and it was really hot, and I was just spectating. I was thinking, oh God, this is incredible. Like, I've been to Ironman finish lines, like I've done 270.3s, but this is next level. And I sat there and thought, because a lot of people ask me posts, it's like, oh, do you want to do it now? And I thought, no, I don't think I want to. But it wasn't a thing of I don't think I can. I just don't want to. But it definitely, and yeah, it planted a seed of just more so I was inspired by what these women were capable of. And that if I wanted to, I could do that. It wasn't, I mean, tomorrow it was going to take a journey. It was going to be a long way there. But I think it's kind of been thinking about, well, post-Kona of, as you've said, or when I was training for it, people being like, oh my God, you're incredible. You're training for an Ironman. And you're like, oh, thank you. That's really kind of you. And then straight away, I couldn't do that. And it's like, okay, let's just stop there. You absolutely could. It's taken me, it hasn't been easy. Absolutely not. It's called an Ironman for a reason. It's been hard. It's taken sacrifice. It's taken resilience. It's been hard. But if you really wanted, you could do this. And I think it's almost when you're met with that, it's almost like it's a double negative, right? They're putting you up on this pedestal, but then saying, I couldn't do that. And it's, are you wanting then to me to be like, yes, you can, yes, you can? Or are you self-limiting yourself and saying, no, I can't, it's too hard. when you meet someone and they're like, you're training for an Ironman, this is incredible, I can't do that. It's like, no, if you don't want it, that is totally fine. No one, if you don't want to go train for 6 hours on a bike, that is totally fair. I understand you. But if you want to set yourself a little goal, if you want to think, you definitely could. And I think it's unlocking that part of our brains as well, especially for women. For so long, we've sat in that burnt, but I haven't had the opportunity. I can't do it. It's too hard. I just can't do it. I think it's that mind shift of what we think. And what I was talking about before, what the importance of community is, of being able to see each other doing it, is so important and so inspiring as well. So next time you think about it, if someone says, oh, I'm training to play AFL, and instead of saying, oh, I couldn't do that, being like, well, I reckon actually I could do that. It would take a long time. It would take a journey to get there, and that's cool. But I don't want to do that. I want to do Pilates on the weekend instead, and that's totally fine. I think it's training, rephrasing ourselves instead of saying I can't. It's okay, I don't want to do that, but you're incredible too. So it doesn't take away from what other people are doing as well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, by saying I don't want to, it gives them ownership as opposed to limitation.
Yeah.
And what you say kind of makes me think, if they say, oh, I couldn't do that, it kind of takes away from what you did. Because guess what? If I started tomorrow, I couldn't do that.
No way.
But if I wanted to, I could train and put in all the hard work. And yes, I could achieve that. So I think that is really, really important.
And you touched on it before. It's endurance sport. It's a long game, right? You just don't do, people asking me when we came in here this morning, being like, oh, you must train heaps for it. And I said, yeah, but we built up to it. It wasn't like all of a sudden next week I was doing going from 0 to 100. It's a slow kind of build, which I think is also the beauty of endurance sports as well. And I think that's also women really enjoy it once they get into it. We found, especially with long distance running, they start at a 5K and then build up to a 10 and then to a marathon and to like a full marathon, and then even into this ultra trail kind of space as well. It's a slow burn journey, but you get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think a big part of all of this is that the win is the action of signing up, right? It's not, you don't look at it as in, I will be successful once I finish that line. That's not it. It is, I know, as stereotypical as it is to say, it is the journey, and you get reward from effort with endurance. You get to see yourself building and building and building, and it's just showing up day in and day out and having this quiet belief. And belief isn't loud, it's consistent, it is disciplined, and it is sometimes monotonous, but that is what will reap the reward.
100%. And look back at it, yeah, I've got a shiny medal now, but I look back and what I'm most proud of is the journey that I've said journey a lot today, but on what I've done to get there. It's been a whole little bunch of small goals, slowly ticking them off to a bigger goal.
Yeah. A big part of your blog was saying how, there are issues with body image in endurance sports, because stereotypically, everyone thinks you have to be this little lean machine to be an endurance athlete. And you've said that you're not the typical triathlete. Tell us a little bit more about that and what sort of limitations that might give towards women who don't fit that stereotypical mold.
100%. Look at me. I'm not, I think that's an old school way of thinking. We always used to think that, skinny is fast, right? We know that, throw that out. But also think big or fat is not slow either. Let's reframe that message as well. I am a size 14. I've got belly rolls. I've got cellulite. I've got double chins. But guess what? They all got me to an Ironman World Championship finish line, and I couldn't have done it without that. And I am so, so proud of my body, and it's been a journey to be proud of my body. Don't get me wrong. I think if 12-year-old Lydia could look at me now and that how I'm thinking now about my body, that is so empowering and such a beautiful journey that I can say now that I'm so proud of my body and what it is capable of. And I hope by me sharing, on my I wear Lycra for triathlons because it's faster and it's just kind of what you do. It's not flattering at times, absolutely not. Look at those bike photos I'm lent over. Yeah, you can see my belly rolls, but they're part of me and they got me to that Ironman World finish line. I couldn't have done it without them, so very proud of them.
That's right. And there's so much to say about strength.
100%.
And again, we've spoken about this many times on previous episodes, but as you say, skinny doesn't equal fast and aesthetic does not equal performance. There's people out there who might look like absolute bodybuilders, but they physically are not very strong and could not do half the things that we can do. So we really need to shift this narrative from aesthetic to performance and just being proud of our bodies, because they are the vehicle that get us to do what we need to do at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how they look.
100%. I think it's also the beauty of triathlon, and for Ironmans, we're seeing that all body shapes do this sport, and it's beautiful, and it's embracing that, and it's being proud of that as well. So yeah, I'm more than happy to keep sharing every run photo I've got as well. I'm always with a double chin like this. I don't know why, but who cares?
And it's relatable. It's relevant.
Who cares? It's me with double chins on the Kona run course. So
where would you rather be?
Where would you rather be? Actually, at that time, I wouldn't rather be there. But saying it. So yeah, I think it's owning that as well, being super proud of my body, and being proud of what my body is capable of. Yes, it doesn't look like what is thought of as the perfect body type, but there is no perfect body type either, which we're learning as well. Strength is absolute key, and strength looks like different things as well. I've seen dietitians, I've worked through them. I've said a really supportive coach as well. And don't let that be a limitation for you. I've actually had feedback said that, you did better than expected at Kona.
Really?
And I kind of look at that and go, why? Because I'm a little bit overweight or a little bit like chubbier, because I'm not, I know they didn't say that, but that was in the back of my mind. And I also love that as well. Like, let's flip this narrative, and that you don't have to be skinny or the right size to be able to do this. And I hear a lot of people, they get into running or triathlon even to lose weight. And that's great if that's, if you're needing to or wanting to, but do it with all because of the enjoyment that'll come from it as well, which are hopefully the people what you stick around for is that you find the enjoyment of it as well. And that realizing that, strong looks all different ways, shapes and sizes as well. There's not one definition of strong.
So what do you think needs to change, especially in endurance sports, to overcome that narrative?
I think the more we share of everyday bodies, and getting out there and having a crack and doing it. Yes, obviously the elites a different story, but I think it's way more inspiring to see the mum with 3 kids absolutely smashing out their first half marathon or their first standard distance triathlon, or the girl that thought she could never get into sport because she never really did in high school, but she's found it in her early 20s. That's incredible. And I think we can change the narrative as well. I think you and I have had the discussion. We went to school with girls who'd be like, I'm not a sporty girl. I'm not into it. Well, maybe you weren't in your first 20 years of your life. Guess what? You got 60 more of them or more. You can change your narrative, and you can find there's different avenues of sport, of exercise, and finding what works for you. Go for it. Don't be scared to try.
If one girl is listening to this podcast, and I hope at least one is,
please,
to this one girl, what piece of advice would you tell her?
Go and try something, even if it's going to push you out of your comfort zone. If you've always had that thought in the back of your mind, which I know you've had, maybe I actually would be really good at swimming. Go jump in the pool and have a go. Maybe the first time won't be amazing, but give yourself, maybe it's a timeline to give it a really good crack and have that belief in yourself. And if at the end of that timeline that you've set for yourself, if you go back and like, you know what, I'm not enjoying this isn't for me, great. You discovered you didn't like it, but you can look back and be like, I gave it a go though. And I think a lot of women we're seeing are too scared to give it a go. They're still scared of failure. And it's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Give yourself a go. You've ever had that we've all had it. We've all had that little thought in the back of your head. It's even you starting this podcast, right? Being like, I think I could do this. Do it.
Yeah. We all have that imposter syndrome, right? Why should I? Like, what authority do I have on this? But at the end of the day, we all know and have enough capability to do it. It's just about believing it and about not worrying about what other people are going to think. I think that's the biggest barrier to entry.
And do you know what? I think in our head we've been like, people are going to judge me. It's actually the other way around. They look at you and go, wow, good on you. You're doing it. I think we also have this in our mindset that society can be quite negative and taking away from it, but it's actually the opposite. Like if you said to me, I want to go try water polo, I'd be like, go you, that's incredible.
That's right.
Give it a go. Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So now, flipping the coin,
Ooh.
What would you tell your 16-year-old self knowing what you know now?
You know what's really interesting? 16-year-old Lydia was actually one of the best versions of myself. I love 16-year-old Lydia. She was swimming full-time still. She just got over like awful time of high school where she was awkward and bullied a little bit and just hadn't found herself. But 16, she'd found her feet and she was awesome. And I think a lot of my decisions now I look back, I'm like, would this make 16-year-old Lydia proud? She had sky high dreams and goals for what I wanted to do in my life. And yeah, I look back and be like, would this make me proud? I think there's a couple of cornerstones that happened when I was in my early teens and whatnot, that kind of made me go back that I don't want to live by the judgment of others, and I've got the beat of my own drum, and it's pretty good, and I really like it, so I'm going to live by that life. And one of those stories was, so when we were I think it was in year 9, and we had an inspirational educational female come talk to us about body image and self confidence and whatnot, and she was incredible. I forget her name, but the energy she brought to this room, it was like 200 girls in the room. It was amazing. And one of the exercises she made us do was close our eyes, everyone in this big hall, and she said, put your hand up if you think you're beautiful. And I'm sitting there and I went, yep, I'm beautiful. And then she said, open your eyes. And I was the only one with my hand up, and guess what I did? I quickly pulled it down so I wasn't, and then she turned around and was like, see, none of you think you're beautiful. And I sat there and I was really disappointed in myself. I didn't speak up and say, no, I think I am. And I think that was the cornerstone of my life, of being like, no, I'm incredible. I'm really proud of myself and what I'm capable of. I want to live by this life.
That's a very, very powerful answer, and it is right. It's the fear of judgment from others, and we as a society get told, don't say that you're beautiful because that's arrogant, but we should be leaning into it and say, I'm beautifully imperfect, and that's what makes me beautiful.
And like 16-year-old Lydia to have that mindset at 16, I'm so proud of that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think, definitely being in your 20s, being an adult changes things. You go on journeys and whatnot, but when I make decisions, I kind of look back and be like, would that support 16-year-old Lydia's dreams of myself? And if I go, maybe not, I go, how are we thinking big enough? What's kind of next? And I don't know if I can, I'm not amazing. Who am I? I don't have a big platform, but if I can inspire someone else to think like that especially that you are so capable, you have opportunities, go for it.
Absolutely. Well, let's finish on this question.
Ooh.
What is it going to take for women's sport to grow and be promoted? What can we all do on an individual level? And then let's think broader, what needs to happen on a broader scale level?
Every guest that you've had here has said such a great answer, like support it, right? If there's an AFLW game, go buy tickets, go tune in, go like it, subscribe it, be part of it, right? But I think what I've also comes down to a grassroots level as well. So if you're wanting to, like I kind of said, if you want to go play hockey at the women's team, maybe ask a friend, do they want to come too? It's kind of the more people we have, the more people we keep talking about women's sport and inclusion. It can start in those really base communities and we don't know where it can go. Like Kylie, your introduction to AFL is a great example of that, right? Why did you start playing AFL?
Just because my friends are playing it. Wanted to try something new.
And now look at you. You trying to get listed for AFLW?
Maybe.
Hey!
If we're good enough, yeah. Got a long way to go.
But even if that wasn't your journey, did you find lifelong friends? Have you found purpose for yourself?
Absolutely.
Enjoyment?
Yeah, it's given me the best opportunities. It's allowed me to travel the world, and I'm still, my closest friends are AFLW friends. So yeah, 100%. It has given me everything. And
I think another example, like in triathlon, we're a small sport compared to, we don't have broadcast rights. We're not on TV. We're not major. So like our pros aren't known. There's an interesting example at Kona. There's a podcast, and he got really upset that someone stole his idea of doing a daily podcast show, and he was the one having ownership of that. And it's like, hang on, don't you want to grow the sport of triathlon? And isn't it the same with like women's sport? So if you want to start a female podcast, if you want to start a Facebook page or an Instagram page, got Facebook, how old do I sound like that? But a TikTok of showcasing women's sport, go for it. The more we're talking about it, the more it's out there, includes more people. And I think the power of your community is sometimes underestimated as well, of what that can mean to share different stories that you wouldn't know about it. Like living with you, I've learned so much about AFLW and their stories, who these athletes are. It's been incredible. And then hopefully I've shared with you some...
Absolutely. I feel like an Ironman expert, even though I didn't know it was all spelled in capitals, so I've got a bit to learn yet.
But yeah, I think it's, for women's sport to grow, it's the keep having conversations, keep sharing it in your channels as well. I think even a great example with our parents, right? Like it's kind of being like, oh, did you see... my family follows AFL, we follow the Swans, but then some of my conversations would be like, oh, did you see the AFLW girls game at the Sydney Swans? And then maybe at the beginning of the season, mum and dad were like, oh no, on the phone the other day, God, Sydney girls are playing, no offense Sydney girls, but you're not playing well, but we're having a shocker of a season. It's just like, but it's become part of the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And it's changing. It takes time, but we're getting there. The more we're consistent with it, the more we keep talking about it and bringing it into our circles and our day-to-day life, we're going to get there. And one day we won't be talking about women's sport, we'll just be talking about sport.
And won't that be a beautiful world to be a part of?
We're almost there.
We're almost there.
You're making it, Kylie.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, Lydia, it has been an absolute pleasure. And I think key takeaway from this episode is that you don't need to be a pro to start something. You just need the courage to start, the discipline to keep going, and the belief that you're capable of a lot more than you think. And I know for sure that 16-year-old Lydia would be exceptionally proud of you. And I'm extremely proud of you as a triathlete, an Ironman world finisher, but I'm more proud to be your best friend and everything you've taught me. So thank you very much. I know that listeners are going to get a lot of value from this one. And be sure to follow Lydia on socials because she's going to be the next big influencer, the ordinary triathlete or the ordinary Ironman.
We'll see.
Lydia, thank you very much. This one was for the girls.